This recording is going to cover angiology. The blood vascular system is divided into three types of blood vessels: arteries, capillaries, and veins. Arteries. Arteries are blood vessels that carry blood away from the heart and conveys it or carries it toward the tissues. The wall of an artery has three coats, tunics, or layers, and has a hollow core called a lumen through which the blood flows. Think of the lumen as the hollow opening in a straw through which your soda flows. In general, arteries carry blood that is rich in oxygen, which is called oxygenated blood, arterial blood, or aerated blood. The exception are pulmonary arteries, which carry blood with a very low oxygen content and therefore are called venous or deoxygenated blood. The three tunics, coats, or layers of an artery are the tunica intima or interna. This is the inner layer and is composed of a lining of endothelial tissue, also known as endothelium, that is in contact with the blood. The endothelium is a continuous layer of cells that line the inner surface of the entire cardiovascular system, meaning the heart and all the blood vessels. The second layer is the tunica media. This is the middle layer, and this is composed of smooth, muscle, and elastic fibers. This is usually the thickest layer. The tunica adventitia, or externa, is the outer layer and is composed mainly of fibrous connective tissue and elastic fibers. It helps hold the vessels open and prevents tearing of the vessel walls during body movement. Arteries can be classified as either large or medium-sized. Large-sized, elastic, or conducting arteries. The tunica media, which is the middle layer, contains more elastic fibers, hence the name elastic, than smooth muscle. These vessels will conduct, hence the name conducting, blood to the muscular arteries. They are designated large because the diameter is larger than the medium-sized arteries. Examples of large-sized arteries are the aorta and its larger branches, the innominate, common carotid, subclavian, and the common iliac arteries. Medium-sized arteries, also known as muscular arteries or distributing arteries. The tunica media of these contain more smooth muscle, hence the term muscular arteries, and less elastic fibers. They are referred to distributing arteries because they distribute blood to the various parts of the body. Examples of medium-sized arteries are the axillary, brachial, radial, intercostal, mesenteric, popliteal, anterior, and posterior tibials. Because medium-sized arteries contain more smooth muscles, they are capable of greater vasoconstriction, which is a decrease in the size of the lumen caused by a contraction in the smooth muscle in the wall of the blood vessel, and vasodilation, which is an increase in the size of the lumen caused by a relaxation of the smooth muscle in the wall of the vessel. Arterioles. Arterioles are very small, minute arteries, they're almost microscopic, that deliver blood to the capillaries. In general, these are considered the terminal branches of an artery. The three layers, coats, or tunics to arterioles are tunica intima, which is composed of endothelium, just like that of an artery. The tunica media contains more smooth muscle and less elastic tissue, and the tunica adventitia, and this is composed mostly of elastic fibers. Capillaries. Capillaries are microscopic vessels that carry blood from small arteries, your arterioles, to small veins, which are known as venules. They connect the arterioles to the venules. The capillary wall is composed of only a single layer of cells, the endothelium, and they have no tunica media or adventitia. The function of the capillary is to permit this exchange of nutrients, or oxygen, and waste, or carbon dioxide, between the blood and the tissue cells. Venules. Venules are small veins that collect blood from the capillaries and drain them into the veins. The three layers, coats, or tunics of a venule are tunica intima, which is composed of endothelium, tunica media, but it only has a few scattered smooth muscle fibers, and the tunica adventitia is found only in the larger venules, those that converge to form the veins. Veins. Veins are blood vessels that convey or carry blood away from the tissue. They return blood back to the heart. In general, veins carry blood that is lacking in oxygen, called venous or deoxygenated blood. The exception are the pulmonary veins, which carry blood rich in oxygen, which are known as arterial blood, aerated blood, or oxygenated blood. They are composed of the same three layers as arteries, with the exception of the tunica media. This layer is thinner than in arteries, with relatively little smooth muscle and elastic fibers. Therefore, you can say that the tunica media of veins is not as developed as the tunica media of arteries. Veins have two sets in the extremities, known as superficial and deep. They have valves to prevent backward circulation, known as a backflow or regurgitation. They run parallel to arteries. Veins have tributaries, something smaller flowing into something larger. Think of it as flows into. The vasorum. Most cells need to be within a few cell widths of a capillary to stay alive, and the cells that make up the outer walls of a blood vessel are no exception. Vasovasorums are blood vessels that supply blood vessels. They are vessels of vessels. They penetrate the tunica adventitia as well as the deeper tunica media of larger vessels, both in arteries and veins. In anastomosis, most tissues in the body receive blood from more than one artery. This is the union of branches of two or more arteries that supply the same body regions. It is also referred to as an end-to-end union or a joining together of blood vessels. It's a natural communication between two vessels. The circle of Willis of the brain is the most famous example, and we'll talk about this during circulation. An anastomosis between arteries provide an alternate route, which is known as collateral circulation, for blood to reach a tissue or an organ. Collateral circulation is an alternate route of blood to a body part through an anastomosis. It is the circulation of blood through a secondary channel so as to bypass an obstruction in the main channel. Note, anastomosis and collateral circulation are not the same. A vena comitans, also known as a vena comite, literally means accompanying veins. It refers to two or more veins that will accompany an artery. They are usually present with the deep arteries of the extremities. A bifurcation is the splitting of an artery into two branches. A trifurcation is the splitting into three branches.